Hi, Leo. Welcome to your August 2021 Astro Update. It's Raina here. So, as the month of August begins, the sun is in your sign, as it always is, and Mars has just gone into Virgo. And this occurred on July 29th. And I was like trying to see, because I noticed when I was looking at the August ephemeris, I didn't see Mars, any transits with Mars. And so I went and looked and I was like, wow, I don't even know if I included that in my last forecast. Sometimes by accident, I leave off the last transit because I'm looking down a list. But anyway, that's what's happening. So it's kind of like a fresh energy coming into August. And Virgo for you is the second house of earned income. So this creates a sense of urgency with Mars. There's just like this, you know, immediacy, this real push to earn money. That doesn't mean that you need money. In the sense that you're down to your last $2. It can simply be that you're working longer hours and you're just kind of chasing that dollar because that's just part of what is happening in that moment. That it's more active. But there are some people that may take on another job simply because they have a specific goal in mind, and it can be almost like, to me, like a short burst where you're doing it in order to save for a specific thing that you don't need to just do for the rest of your life. So in some cases it might be an additional job, but it's just a very active area and you have a strong desire to do that at this time. On the 8th, you have your new moon at 16 degrees of Leo, 8-8, the Lionsgate portal. So you're definitely the lion. And so, what are you planning to manifest in the coming 12 months, Leo? Leo is an ambitious sign, and I believe that Leo goes after what they want, if they set their mind on something. So don't underestimate the power of new moon intentions. If if you're going to carry them out, which a Leo person would do. On the 11th, Mercury goes into Virgo. So now we have not only Mars and Venus, I should have said that as well, both in that second house, and Venus in the second house. Venus is in its own house, so that's very attractive for money to come to you. But now we have Mercury there. Mercury is about crunching the numbers, thinking about what goes in, what goes out, the kind of practical mind that is really important when you're trying to do anything in life. You need that creative part and you need the practical part to come together. And this is what can happen with Mercury here. So that can be beneficial for you to harness all of those material desires that you have into like a very streamlined, cohesive plan. So this could be, I don't know if you can tell, but I'm like kind of allergic to the word budget because I think that it feels very restrictive, but kind of I would call it practical, being a practical visionary about your abundance. On the 16th, Venus goes into Libra. And so now we're talking about third house matters. And third house is the mind. It's also, it's communication, it's siblings, it's other extended family members. And Venus can be socializing, harmonizing. Neighbors is third house or local area. In terms of money through the media, even the internet can be a part of this. Teaching, learning, love through the internet, love through a dating site, love through your sibling, one of your siblings setting you up with one of their friends, and meetings, finding love in your local area. On the 19th, Uranus goes retrograde at 14 degrees of Taurus. So for you, Leo, this is a 10th house transit. And with retrogrades, there's more of an internalizing of some of the effects that the retrograde promises. So in Uranus in the 10th, we're talking about status, career. And so an example is when a Taurus person, I mean a Taurus, a Leo person who kind of plays it by the book. So let's say you have your moon in Capricorn, something traditional or Leo, and you're kind of like afraid to rock the boat, and you really want success almost at any cost, and not anything underhanded, but you just want it so much that you're willing to do what it takes, but it's not necessarily utilizing your talents or being authentic to your own true self. This will be a time of liberation, internal liberation, which is the ultimate. If you get liberated from, it's like if somebody loses their job and they're unhappy with their job, yes, it can be a blessing in disguise because it frees them from something that they weren't happy with. But because they did not initiate it themselves, it's kind of like a default change that they could have made much more stepping in their own power if they had been the one to do it. And the same thing applies to this situation. When Uranus is in your 10th house, you have to expect the unexpected in terms of career matters. And I think that this can even involve employment. I mean, you could be working for a company and all of a sudden it folds, or it gets sold to a different company and you don't like the way that they do things. I feel like those kind of things can happen, and it can affect your career in a very dramatic way if you have an experience that kind of makes you feel not so good about it anymore. Like if you're working in a field and it gets sold to your company gets sold to someone else, and they kind of have policies that you don't even think are very ethical, and you question the type of work you're doing altogether. So these kinds of things, I feel, can lead us in a direction that is much more aligned with where we want to be. But in the short term, it can feel very uncomfortable. This is more about liberating yourself from the inside. What is it that drives you, Leo, to makes you want to succeed? Is it your status in the world? And you can break free from those constraints, which really keep people living a lie sometimes. That's how dramatic it can get. This can turn out to be a very a turning point in your life. I believe that Uranus is going to go direct at the beginning of December of this year. So it'll be for the next few months. And I feel like this is going to be a time when even though Uranus is an outer planet, it's not, personal to you, because it's in this a house, especially this angular house is given so much importance in astrology. It may change you in a very radical way, your attitude towards what you deem as success and even your life path, your purpose. Because, and I'm talking about in terms of career, not North Node stuff. But the reason I say that is because this is, your career with Uranus. I mean, this could even lead some of you to want a lot more freedom and to do something of the healing arts variety or psychic matters. And this is the kind of work that doesn't necessarily get that kind of praise that or status from society. Sometimes people look at it with a funny look on their face. It's kind of like the road less traveled. So maybe anything that is not the mainstream is what you're meant to step into. But you have to wrap your brain around that because perhaps you're still caught up in that worldly version of success and what it means, and even your own ego, your own identity thus far that you've cultivated, um, and having to let that go. Speaking of letting something go, on the 22nd, we have a full moon at 29 degrees of Aquarius, that blue moon I've been talking about. And on the same day, the sun goes into Virgo. So even though Venus has left the second house, now we have a new resident, the sun, in the second house. And that gives you a practical type of demeanor right now. Same as Mercury here, gives you a mindset that is very pragmatic, concerned with tangible things. But at the same time, the full moon at 29 degrees of Aquarius is occurring in your seventh house of committed partnership. So dramatic relationship developments, perhaps, once in a blue moon. Endings, this is the last degree of Aquarius. It's a very powerful degree, critical degree, but also this is the house of public relations. Who better than to promote themselves than Leo? And this can be in a big way. This could be some kind of a fluke situation that leads you to get publicized. On the 30th, we have a transit of Mercury going into Libra, into that third house, joining Venus, and definitely could be doing a lot of communication at this point. And maybe it is connected to that full moon. Maybe you are, if this is some kind of an online endeavor, again, Uranus, 10th house, retrograding, technology is 10th house. If you started something in the past, maybe now it's going to pay off. Great for writing projects, Mercury in the third, and just reaching out to others, teaching, tutoring, learning a new skill. Okay, that's what I have for you, Leo. I hope that this resonated. If you would like a private reading, I have combination readings as well as, readings with certain focuses. So with a certain focus. So please check out my website at the link below. Take care. Bye.